Spooks Run Wild from 1941 was, wow. Don't get me wrong, I love this one, but I loved it in the same way that I love old Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes. I mean, this film was really something. I mean, picture, if you will, the East Side Kids, led by Leo Gorsey, winding up in a creepy old haunted house and encountering none other than Bela Lugosi himself, along with his midget companion. Let me try to break this one down, and then I'll give some thoughts about the film. So the story here is that the East Side Kids, who are comprised of Muggs, played by Leo Gorsey, Glimpy, played by Hunts Hall, Danny, played by Bobby Jordan, Skinny, played by Donald Haynes, Screwno, played by Ernest Morrison, and Pee-wee, played by David Gorsey, who was Leo Gorsey's younger brother. Well, these kids have gotten into trouble, and they're being sent to a camp for underprivileged youth. Now, on the way, when the bus that they are riding in stops at a small town, this gang heads into a local sweet shop, where Muggs gets friendly with a lovely girl who is working there. Now, exposition radio pops on to let us know that the monster, a diabolical murderer, is on the loose and might be in that area near them. Well, the gang arrives at the camp and they settle in, but wouldn't you know it, Muggs decides he wants to sneak off for a date in the middle of the night with the soda shop girl. And the other East Side Kids, of course, decide to tag along as well. And these silly guys just kind of end up getting lost and crossing through a cemetery late at night where a caretaker sees them and takes a shot at them with his shotgun, injuring Pee-wee. Well, the kids carry the injured Pee-wee to shelter at a nearby creepy manor up on a hill. And it's here that they encounter the mysterious Nardo, played by Bela Lugosi, along with his mute dwarf servant Luigi, played by Angelo Rosito. Now, there's no phone here at Nardo's mansion, but he does have some medical background, apparently, and offers to help treat Pee-wee himself, so the gang agrees. So Nardo takes care of Pee-wee and helps the kids to some rooms for the night. However, a little later the gang, they start to get a little concerned and they want to try to escape back to town with Pee-wee. And here's where the film starts to go into a sort of crazy, spooky mansion direction. There's all sorts of craziness going on around the house with animated suits of armor and bats and whatnot. And to make things worse, Pee-wee seems to be under a trance. Uh-oh, whatever could have happened to him? Well, with that being said, and there's still a good chunk of the film left, I will leave the summary here and I'll let you check out this cinematic gem for yourself to see what sort of wild silliness happens to wrap up the film. And believe me, you will never see the ending of this one coming. It's really a trip. So Spooks Run Wild was released in 1941 by Monogram Pictures, one of the Poverty Row studios, and it was one of two films that would pair up Bela Lugosi with the East Side Kids, the other movie being Ghosts on the Loose in 1943. Hey Rob, will you be reviewing Ghosts on the Loose, you may ask? You're darn tootin'. Now, my thoughts on this film was, yes, it's a very silly and entertaining haunted house film. It's got a lot of gags and jokes, and it doesn't really at any point feel like it's taking itself seriously. So don't try to deeply analyze this particular film. It's got a whisper-thin plot, and just enjoy it for the goofy mess that it is. I found this to be a movie primarily of prop gags, the floating skulls, spiders, animated suits of armor, as well as numerous one-liners, and just a few of those Leo Gorsey malapropisms, but maybe not as many as I would have liked. So yes, it's a ridiculous premise, but I thought the idea of the kids off to this camp, getting lost in a spooky old mansion, and all the while there's this monster on the loose, and no real details are given other than some, brief news reports or chatter from some of the characters. I thought that did lend itself to a fun bit of suspense and mystery. It did kind of keep you guessing as to what was really going on. And Bela, of course, he's always great. He plays eerie characters perfectly, much like a vampire. I mean, he's all dressed up, all nice in a suit. He's carrying the candle around. He even does the good evening and all of that stuff. So It's very suggestive of that, Dracula presence. In fact, earlier on in the film, he's in a graveyard, and the guy takes a shot at him with his gun, and he just sort of vanishes. So right away early in the film, we're given a clue that there might be something maybe supernatural involved, but again, I'll let you see for yourself. Seriously, the film's an hour long. It's public domain. You can Google it and find it. It's all over YouTube. It's on Prime and Tubi and so on. So seriously, go find the film and just enjoy it. It did make me laugh that these East Side kids were mostly in their 20s at this point, with Ernest Morrison being almost 30 at the time. But, just suspend disbelief with this one and just trust me. They're a great bunch of actors, very colorful, and I loved all their verbal banter and the constant joking. There was a minor subplot with Dave O'Brien and Dorothy Short, who are sort of like, the ones responsible for the kids, because, clearly someone in authority had to be wondering, where did these kids all vanish to? But that part of the film was just such a thin element of the story, you can almost overlook it completely. It was interesting watching this film, too. There's a very brief role of Pat Costello as the bus driver in an uncredited role. I had to do a double take because I was thinking, what is Lou Costello doing in this film? Of Abbott and Costello fame. But no, this was his brother. And he was actually a Hollywood stuntman and an actor who would double for Lou in a lot of the films, that Abbott and Costello would do together. And it was interesting reading about this film, as this was the last feature film of actor Donald Haynes. Now, he played the character Skinny in the film, one of the kids. What happened is that he had enlisted in the USAAF, which was like the aerial warfare service before the Air Force, back during World War II. And he was an aviation cadet in December of 1941, and he would actually die while serving in the North African theater. Well, one final note, and I'll wrap this one up, but no matter how simple they may seem, I just love seeing the old-fashioned soda shop whenever it appears in an old film. The sweet shop. We stop in for a root beer soda, carbonated water from the fountain, the flavored syrups, mixed into drinks by hand, ice cream floats, phosphates and egg creams, that sort of thing. I just love it. I love seeing that in an old film, no matter how basically it may appear. My wife tells me I was born in the wrong era. I think maybe it's true. Anyhow, that's Spooks Run Wild from 1941. It's just fun entertainment, if not taken too seriously. I really thought it was great to see Leo Gorsey and his gang pair up with the legendary Bela Lugosi in an old haunted house with all of the spooky props and gimmicks. All the while, everyone's making lots of jokes and gags. It's not terribly deep. Don't read into it too much. It's just a silly film, and this would honestly be a really good one to revisit around the Halloween season. It's a fun, family-safe, cheesy film, and it's one worth checking out.